Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, Kenya as a country, we are in a crisis moment simply because of the heavy rain that has turned into floods, whereby even river banks have burst. So there is total flooding all over, especially those who are in Nairobi and the neighborings within Nairobi. People cannot sleep in their own house, nowhere to sleep. Even you cannot get to the shop because of the flood. You can't walk, you can't move. We have those who have been carried with water. We've got the report of those who have died. They are telling us a certain figure, but it's more than that. And in all this, it seems like the government is doing too little. So Larry Madowo, the CNN journalist, decided to visit the informal settlement, what we refer to as Slum here in Kenya. And then you saw in one of the videos he shared there with the headline, Flash Floods in Nairobi at Extreme Level. So he decided to reach out to the people who refer to as hustlers, the poor of the poorest down there, low class, people who live in slums, those who cannot afford rent, huko chini kabisa kwa maskini. And the information he managed to collect from there, it tells you how this government is treating some Kenyans. I'm saying some Kenyans. Because the lady was very clear in her statement that no one is trying to reach out to them with help from the government. So they don't feel the presence of the government. That they're just trying to help themselves. When it comes to the issue of emergency respond, nowhere, no emergency respond. They are just trying to help themselves. That's the situation they are in. And she made a complaint that if it was somewhere else, let's assume like middle class or the highest class, then government could have responded differently, like what they are being treated to. That was the feeling of this lady.
Nothing has come from the government. We only help ourselves because nobody has come to the rescue. You feel like you don't come from this country, you are maybe inferior, because if it was somewhere else, maybe middle class or the highest class, government could have responded ASAP.
Residents in these areas, informal settlements or slums as they're better known, often complain about emergency services not getting to them during disasters. But here's the extra complication. It's starting to rain one more time. The Kenya Meteorological Department has warned of heavy to very heavy rainfall still to be expected. And the fear here is that that may lead to a new wave of flooding. Larry Madowo, CNN, Nairobi.
Now, as we continue with this panel discussion, just a quick request for those who are watching and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. To our returning subscribers, I must say thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and back to this discussion. According to that lady, the people who live in this informal settlement, they feel like at such time, they don't come from this country called Kenya. They feel inferior. They don't feel being part of Kenya as a country. And this has been displayed openly during this time of disaster, a moment where you need to see the government really proving that they are in charge and you are a citizen. They don't feel that. And I saw in one of the clips Omondi trying to complain about how the governor of Nairobi is trying to sort out this mess with a lot of PR. That he tries to reach some areas, but the most needed people in those areas, extreme areas where there is total floods, they are not reaching there. They just come with PR, some food reliefs here, to try and show off. But the most needed people have not been reached out to. then Eric Omondi was right. And Larry Madowo has proved that point by sharing this video. You have heard from the affected people on the ground themselves talking about what they feel about this government, what they have gone through, without seeing any official from the government trying to reach out to them. So we are in this situation. But see how the government is behaving. When Tanzania was facing a landslide in some areas, and by this happening in Kenya also, I've seen some areas in Mount Kenya, Kisumu, even the rail line, they cannot move. There's landslide. So they have been affecting the activities. So Tanzanian President Mama Suluhu Samia decided to cut short the UN event and go back to the country to mourn with her people and sort a solution. Here in Kenya, the opposite is happening. As we are facing such kind of a crisis, the president of the country just left yesterday to go to Tanzania to celebrate an event, anniversary, 60 years of the unity between Zanzibar and Tanzania. After that, we will be heading to Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, there will be another issue of also where he will be also joining. But here in Kenya, people have died. They are continuing to die. This flooding is no longer showing signs of stopping, but the man is out of the country. Then you see how hustlers are complaining. Talk of the self-inflicted pain. Someone said that the self-inflicted pain does not leave until it teaches very painful lesson. The situation we are in now will teach us to think of, number one, leaders whom have the disaster management ideas. When you vote, you will have to understand those who can manage the economy responsibly. Servant leadership, caring leaders who understand its own citizens. And we have to avoid this kind of government. The government of Miujiza. Because right now what we will be told is that now let's go and pray to stop the rains. That's the first lady. That's what the first lady will be telling us now. They will have now to plan for a big crusade, call in international evangelists and pastors to come and pray so that the economy will change when we have a problem with the economy. They will be praying for the Kenyan shilling to strengthen, to improve. They will be calling for prayers to stop the rains and floods. So we are going through this problem, and I pray that it should be a lesson so that any other time when we vote, we should understand, is Sakaja able to sort our problem? What about William Ruto? What about those other leaders, including even your own MCA? Okay, we have a president who is running for the office as a presidential candidate. What about the wife? Will she be a source of wisdom, knowledge, and advice to the president? Or she will be just calling for prayer when everything goes wrong, even where they know that they can sort out the problem. They have the resources to sort out the problem, but you turn to prayers. Sometimes, unajua hata kama utaomba, you can have this cup. It is here on table. You can't pray that, God, I command this tea to enter my stomach. It will not. It will require you to use your own hand that God has given you to hold the cup and take the tea. Maombi yengine msitulete. Maombi yengine msitulete. Miujiza zingine msiombe zikuje. There are things that you need to take an action. But for this regime, it's all about miracle after miracle. And I saw a comment from someone that I want to share with you here. Now, you see, going by what this regime has been doing, this is some of the views that is coming from Kenyans after studying this government. This is what Sasha is saying here. I think, guys, we should look beyond the floods. Ruto must be worshipping something that is worshipped by the West. That's why nowadays we suffer a problem of the West. Very soon we will have hurricanes and a major earthquake because God is angry. Kenya has become Sodom and Gomorrah. Look at that. Another comment, Agneto Gola. Mr. Ruto alitaja mama mboga na bodaboda. Uchumi ikashuti. Bibi yake amekuwa akitajataja mvua. Floods came. Wakafacilitate usafiri wa nabii kutoka ng'ambo. Ajali zimeua watu Kenya. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Ama kinywa chake kinadondoka ukatili na damu kama shetani. Are gods angry? Please advise. Please advise our president. Advise them. Wasiongee anything. We are happy as a nation. That they should stop mentioning anything. Anytime they mention anything, disaster comes in. Anytime they mention something. So you see the thinking of Kenyans, because these people are leading us every time into prayer movement, even when they need to take an action, they have the ability, they have our resources, but that's what they does. Then you find out that pesa zetu zitafika kwa njia nyingine ya ajabu. So Madowo is now exposing this regime to the world. That it was a Kenyan issue here, but once he picks it as a CNN reporter, which is an international media house, it becomes an international news. So Ruto has been exposed to the world. The governor has been exposed to the world. When they get outside there, people will be talking about them. Huyo ndio huko kwao tulikuwa tunasikia floods and they were nowhere to be seen. When Ruto gets out, people will remember that this is the president who was out of the country at the time when the country was in crisis. Now, the world is aware whom William Ruto is. So watamuona kama an uncaring president, inhumane president, the regime that does not care for his own people. And that is the face of this Kenya Kwanza administration. I don't know your views, but let us put in the comment section to continue with this discussion. Thank you so much and see you in our next video.